And looking at the gods, Mikahe is going to be sticking with his Oranos. Legend Jarl is switching into Odin. He was playing Thor in the first game. And then Trulok is going to be playing Zeus. That's basically all he plays, or at least in some kind of more serious matches. And the opponents from Samlets, Thomas Shelby switching in Tura. Yeah, he had pretty nice success against Chemo with that. Miracleman, his teammate, is sticking with Oranos, and Hero OP is yet again going to be playing random. Last time around, it picked, what is it, Ra. Played reasonably okay, even though he was having some problems with Legend Jarl in there. So let's see what kind of civilization and god he will be locking into this time around.
Yes.
And it is from Hero OP set. Okay, so another Egyptian for him. And on Frozen Times Molde, that's actually not such a bad choice. Because this map is gonna rage on wolves and other kinds of animals, of course. Otherwise, the opponents are, of course, usually pretty close by, as we have seen Legend Jarl exactly his base, doubling the amount of caribous. That's quite a lot of them right now, so he doesn't have to move anywhere else for quite some time. And to basically explain what is important about this map, it is because the flanks are quite close by to the opponents, and we are going to be seeing a battle between Miracleman at the top, and on the left side, left bottom side, it's going to be Trulok. So Zeus against them, and you can see that he's starting even with the wolf. He's not really wanting to waste any kind of food source at all, and since it's still hunt, it of course makes quite a lot of sense, and it's not any kind of problem for him at all. As he's going to be finishing with the caribous, which are rather elks, which are kind of funnily spawned around the DC, as you can see. Literally, this is such a weird spawn of them. Maybe it's even two spawns on at once, I would be thinking. But he's having extra caribous in the front and really a lot of hunt all around with some extra polar bear and the berries right next to a hole in the ground that is filled with ice on icy winter map. Horse and the deer at the back, pretty decent hunting, or rather at the back of the map, but between both Miracleman and Trulok. So that's going to be a pretty big fight for it, as we are looking at Miracleman getting from both elks and caribous. Probably not going to be moving all that much until he is in the next age, and he's also having the relic right on his doorstep, which is for a trio of monkeys, which is yet again going to be quite useful in the early fightings. In the meantime, in the pocket, we are having the hero OP player as set. It is in gold, protected by the tower, having caribous behind his base, and otherwise he hasn't discovered all that much. Just a few berries with gold mines, of course. Quite a lot of them, two of those right now that he's seen. And that, of course, is a pretty good news for an Egyptian who is having TC on a hill. He's having TC on a hill, but those two stones are definitely not helpful, because you cannot build anything in there, which will mean a bit less efficiency on the granary. Building farms, yep, farms, that's the word that I was looking for. Some relic in the middle, which is for Pegasus Scout. We are looking at here OP getting rid of the hunt of his opponent. Yeah, Hyena getting her hunt in here. And we are also looking at Trulok, who is scouting in the middle, trying to find absolutely everything that is in there. Like, for example, the extra hunt that he might be wanting to move to, for example, if he is brave enough, because that's quite far away. But these double golds, interesting placement indeed. And food per second is definitely not a bad relic if are in the mind for a bit more food into your economy. Otherwise, this gold is not really all that greatly placed, because of course, because of the melon hairs from the relic, it means that you can place basically mining camp in all the kind of wrong places. Not even sure if it's gonna fit here. So it's going to be really inefficient to get it from the gold mine. But we are also looking in the pocket player for Legend Jarl, who is already going to be dropping Temple and advancing to the next age, as we are also at 3 minutes, which definitely makes sense, as it's a standard advanced timing for all of these players. Gold mine at the back with a bit more extra hunt. Really, this is a pretty good spawn of Molde, both gold wise and hunt wise. As Mikahe on the right side, who is going to flank in against Mas Shelby. That's going to be a pretty tough job for him. Mas Shelby's Ra is not half bad, but he's also quite wide open through the left side. You can see he's already trying to work on it through the temple and the houses, and I'm fairly certain that he might be forced into defensive Migdol right close to his base, and maybe even this position might not be all that bad, but I'm not all that sure that he will be allowed something like that by the Atlantean on the other side of the map. We are looking right now by Miracleman, on Miracleman's oracles, who are scouting all around the yellow base. Also with the goats being recruited into the effort, having the third one in the pocket, who is trying to see if maybe somebody is going to help like Legend Jarl, or when he is going for a bit more raiding. In the meantime, Mikkehay is also scouting as well, as Hero OP has been scouted. I'm fairly certain this was visible for Mikkehay. He's going for a very aggressive hunt, quite far away from his base, not even going for the berries. Or the hunt behind. He does have some hunt, even though it's tricky hunt, it's wolves, it's going to be fighting back. It's still hunt, and for wolfies it's not all that bad, especially for Egyptian. We are looking at a lot of berries behind the bases, so this is really kinda interesting from Hero OP, and he's definitely hoping that Thomas Shelby will be protecting his berries as much as he can, as he is close by, but he's also raw, so yep, I wouldn't be all that sure. I wouldn't be sure at all, rather, as Mikkehay is also in pretty adventurous position for his second hunt, but he does have protection of the manor. We have seen players advancing to the next ages, as there's also a bit of scouting by Hero OP behind green, who is just now going to be advancing into Freya. And we are seeing, going to be shifting sands somewhere around here. On top of the hunt, of course, as you would be expecting. So that's 15 cents on the hunt, and unfortunately, Legend Jarl was having a bit of more problems getting out of the way, and Shockwave is definitely going to be in a stop to any kind of attempts to retreat. And even though Legend Jarl does have the army close by, he is still going to be losing a lot of them, as he doesn't right now really mind losing everything in here, because of course, the cost is much higher in the Greek's economy, as he has lost about 4 villagers on hunt at this stage of the game. That's going to be setting him back so much. In the meantime though, Truelock, the newest addition to SonsOfDurin, is doing a pretty good job trying to disrupt the economy of Hero OP. As we are seeing Valors being cast all around, and well, he so far doesn't seem to be really giving up, which is definitely a good job and pretty nice gameplay by him so far. He's basically making sure that 3 citizens from Hero OP are not doing anything that would be considered as addition to the economy. Cheaper villages for Miracleman, definitely a pretty great one for an Atlantean, of course. That's a very huge relic for him, as he's basically camped in, yet again, the important hunt in the middle between him and Truelock. And if he can get all of this without any kind of threat coming up from Truelock, who is just now going for a stable, yeah, that's kind of unfortunate build-up, because that's going to be costing him a whole lot of food. It's still not that bad, because we are looking right now at Thomas Shelby behind his base at second TC, playing basically Standra, which basically means that he's not going to be joining anytime soon into the festivities of the battles, and we should be seeing a bit more help, alongside potentially from Legend Jarl in here, just right now building up the tragedy of his hunt release. We are also looking at Hero OP, who is attempting to take a front TC, which is just now being stopped. Miracleman also going for second TC behind his base, and this is basically telling us what the game plan of Samlet is going to be, and that will be basically outboom their opponents and hope that they are not going to be able to kill them soon enough. But Truelock is already arriving at the correct placement. Even though Miracleman is going to be attempting to stop him, you can see that Legend Jarl is also slightly moving in. And needs to get rid of the Hero Turma, of course, to protect the Minotaur. Like this. But with Odysseus coming into the fun, this should be a pretty bad battle for Miracleman, so he should be retreating from this position. In the meantime, of course, Blue is raiding as much as he can. Because as we have seen a bit earlier, Thomas Shelby is quite open, but he is at least trying to drop a tower. Second one already, because this gold mine is going to be super important for him. It needs a bit more efficiency in there. Wolfie coming in for a bit of a bite. This girl, but with the towers coming up, he should be pretty much fine to defend, so Blue is quite rightly switching into another player. Hero OP is just now finishing with the armory and going to be switching into the back TC, as the front one definitely was a bit too gutsy, too brave for him, and he paid for it with delay in his second TC. Definitely not ideal, and basically giving Truelock, together with his teammates, a bit more extra time to set up, as we are looking at Mikkehay capturing second TC. Is so far the only one player, and we are looking at a bit more problems right now for the second TC, as Hero OP is not going to be finishing even the back TC, because Forest Fire is definitely going to be working, as it's right next to the TC, this forest, and oh man, That's a pretty big problem, because not only has he not going to be, rather, is he not going to be finishing with the TC, he has lost about 4 citizens. 5, maybe 6. Man, it's actually looking like that he actually lost about 5 or 6 villages, which is absolutely terrible. And that means not anything great for here OP, and he's going to be having a very hard time, as we are also looking at Mikahay, who is trying to take his front TC, or maybe his. It's kind of his. This could be considered his as well, or maybe it could be considered Shelby's. It doesn't really matter. It's a front TC in there, and if he captures it, he's probably going to be controlling at least halfway the TC at the bottom as well. In the meantime, Trolloc is having a pretty nice battle against Miracle Man, but he needs to be careful about the population, because even though he's having strong units, Miracle Man is simply going to be having more of them, and I would be expecting that he might be kinda getting ready to go for the front TC as well. I wouldn't be surprised about that at all. And looking at how the back TC of Thomas Shelby is quite nicely protected, as he's right now raining down on his farms. He seems to be quite nicely set up for the heroic, but I'm not all that sure if he's going to be fast enough, because the TCs from Mikahay are of course going to be paying off in the better economy, even through the extra rain for the opponent. Right now, Trolloc, if he cannot fight against the whole army, he's at least trying to get rid of the military buildings. Definitely a good idea. Definitely a good idea, but he could be using some toxols in there against those Murmilos. So that's why usually it's not such a great idea. And somebody's thinking a lot of himself, about himself, without ceasefire. Yeah, this army is definitely not enough, and I'm not seeing how he could be actually taking this TC. He's going aggressively for it, but probably he was communicating with his teammate Legend Jarl, who as an Odin is going for the Ulfsar spam, and this time that might not be such a bad idea, because of course with the double, that changes the situation, and of course that's a pretty good idea. And here OP going for Ancestors, but Odysseus is here, and we are going to be waiting for Jason to join into the fun as well, but he doesn't seem to be anywhere close by, and nearby, coming from the underworld. But he should be pretty much fine, yeah, it should be really killed by the Odysseus, but still, a lot of Turmas will be potentially singling him. So far they, interestingly enough, aren't. Now they are. But the TC is up, which is much more important, which basically means that the Ancestors were more or less wasted, because they were to stop the town center, which didn't happen at all, and that's a pretty big victory right now for Sons of Durin, are stealing successfully TC from Miracle Man and basically from Thomas Shelby on the right side as well, as they are right now going to be attempting to stop the Migdol from coming up. He does have enough army, most definitely. You can see basically all of it coming now, and even with the empowerment, it's definitely not going to be enough, especially with all the heroes right now being spent, which will mean that the rock is also coming down, and he won't be able to raid anytime soon. So Migdol is going to be forced into a bit more defensive position, like about here, which is still not going to be easy at all. So it's almost looking like actually Thomas Shelby overestimated his position, and Mikahay with the 3 TCs is right now punishing him so hard, like so super hard, and he's absolutely stopping his play because he's unable to build a Migdol. You can see he needs to build it at the back of his base, like literally worst placement for a Migdol that you could be hoping for. And even though he's gonna finish now, he has been slowed down so much that it's going to be up to his teammates to somehow establish themselves and maybe turn the game around slightly more into their favor. Because on the right, Mikahay is doing a pretty good job. Here OP though seems to be on top of it. Right now going to be raiding on the food source of Legend Jarl, as he's trickling the chariots absolutely all across the map. Going to be also catching Trolloc off guard also, as we are looking that he is having a pretty nice fight against Miracle Man with 2 TCs both, but yep, the raiding at the back is going to be definitely not something that Trolloc is all that ready for. Yep, that hurts. That definitely hurts. Pretty decent upgrades, Shaft Mine already. Shaft Mine already, as we are looking, oh, pretty bad raiding by Hero OP on these Dwarfies, but he needs to be careful and micro at least a bit, because of course once the Dwarfies get on top of them, they are able to kill them. But I wouldn't be worried all that much, because more chariots should be coming this way pretty soon. In the meantime, the Migdol has been finished, but also the lifespan of the Petsuchos is finished. Not any kind of easy raiding, whereas for the opponent that's exactly the opposite thing, as Mikahay is still doing a pretty good job with the raiding and trying to even have a bit of a line of sight on the back, but unfortunately he's just missing the market being built by Thomas Shelby, who is probably gonna attempt to advance into Mythical Age in some reasonable time. Second attempt at this Migdol definitely not going to be succeeding either. He should be killing the Pharaoh. Exactly. Because he is the most, or rather the biggest problem. He is helping quite a lot the build speed. But looking at the military buildings being right next to this position, I'm not exactly seeing how Thomas Shelby could be finishing with the town center in time, especially if Blue is sending some extra units in. But unfortunately, he's spending his time running around a bit more than he probably should have. Miracleman just advancing into Heroic Age, but with those being basically direct counters to chariots, he killing them, and is aiming for a bit more raiding together with his teammate Legend Jarl at the back, but there is not much to be killed. Even though, just now finishing with Market, but not having, he does have Manor, but still, of course not anything useful. As we have seen Shockwave, and that's exactly what he needed to do. And come on, Valkyrie! Oh, those dudes need to die. And they definitely will. Okay, 2 citizens dead. That's going to be 3rd death as well, and maybe even 4th in here. Nice path block at the last moment. Oh well, that was nicely played by Legend Jarl, and he is going to be killing the villager or not? He is. So 4 citizens right now for Miracleman and dead. That's a pretty huge blow, and of course gold gathering disrupted, and also market building for Miracleman, so pretty big problem, especially if we consider that yellow is right now attempting to push into Miracleman and into his base DC, and having Odysseus to get rid of this Polyamber. In the meantime, Miracleman is trying to raid with his Turmas and has been establishing some kind of forward base and defense of the gold mines in the map. Whereas at the back, there has been basically a stop to raiding from the chariot archers. They will have to switch somewhere else. But we are looking at a pretty interesting attempt by Thomas Shelby to steal a TC. It's almost looking like that Mikahe is unaware right now, as he's fighting next to Migdol that has been finished after some pretty dear attempts. But this TC must be stopped. It must be stopped at all costs, because once it goes up, it's going to be not only potential mercenaries, but all the extra, right now he has noticed, all the extra population that definitely Mikahe could use in this battle, as he doesn't have the researches all that much. Just medium or mills, but copper shields, that's not bad. Especially considering that there are is having baseline, I was expecting nothing. Being used to Chemo having no upgrades at all, but it's not really happening, and you can see that trade is up with Thomas Shelby right now advancing through Osiris into the next age. Legend Jarl at 3 TCs. Quite nicely ready for potential raiding from Hero OP, as we are looking at Miracleman yet again defending against Truelock's raiding. So he's potentially gonna lose even more villagers in this position, which is definitely a pretty good job by SonsOfDurin, who are so far leading on the score, but it could be just because of the opponents being Egyptians. But pretty good raiding right now on Thomas Shelby. Gonna lose a ton of villages because he's so far not aware. And losing trade in here, as he's just now consumed basically by the fight right next to the front DC. He just finished, unfortunately, the one in the front as well. Moving on the gold, probably going to be waiting for Migdol to be placed about here, or maybe next to the TC. Potentially slightly better placement, but you're also looking through, going for yet again a raiding, and they are, SonsOfDurin are all over the place, as he's having quite nicely ready for military barracks, or rather military academy, together with armory, waiting for the mythical age from him, as he is just raiding all around and basically keeping all the army from Miracleman in tow, which I think is working quite well for him, because it's allowing him to basically prepare for the mythical age. And the heroic age before that, of course, because it's still in classical. Yes, he is. In the meantime, pretty good idea to build towers right in the trade route. And you can see that actually Thomas Shelby is right now resigning, because he has probably lost all the gold. He has basically lost all the gold miners in here. And well, that went a whole lot better for SonsOfDurin than I'm thinking even or rather Samlet's expected. So, well, their home map definitely didn't pay off, but Mikahe was playing so well, delaying the Migdol for so long, forcing basically this absolutely horrible back one. But even though Thomas Shelby was able to go for the front DC in the end and got into Mythic, he was out of gold, because of course those 3 towers, that was a pretty huge problem, and a very nice play by Legend Jarl. And also the disruption of Hero OP, first on the front DC and then on the back DC. That was super tough on him also. So they basically were able to control both Egyptians so well that it forced them in the end to resign. Yep, exactly. Even though it didn't really look like that all that much, that some lads should be having that big problems, they actually did. And SonsOfDurin are tying the match 1-1, and maybe right now some lads are kinda questioning the choice to allow Truelock to play. Even the Truelock on paper should be a weaker player than it's a Santana or Vesnovsak UV, but he did play his role in this game, and he definitely did well. So looking at the post game, good economy by Thomas Shelby, but slightly better by Mika Hay in the overall, because he's up much sooner. Much interesting in all of those stats. So we are going to be aiming for the decider. GG.